I recently had the amazing pleasure of interviewing a top program student who's also been in my next level planning membership for quite some time, Dawn Rogers. And I wanted to take the opportunity to share our conversation here with you. Dawn reached out and was like, "Hey, I really want to talk to you about this because the top program, as you know, has had a massive impact in her life. I love sharing information about it, but I always think it's far more beneficial if you can hear from real world women going through real world challenges and how the top program has fit into their life and where it's been able to make an impact. So it is my distinct pleasure to introduce you to Dawn and allow you to hear the conversation that we had. Hey everyone, I am thrilled today because I get to bring on what I'm going to call one of the OGs here in the top program, the beautiful Dawn. Dawn has been in my planning world for quite some time now. Has it been 4 years? Holy cow. And oh God. And Dawn reached out and was like, you know what? I would love to do one of these. And I was thrilled that you spoke up about that because you really have been through quite a bit of seasons, stages, physically, emotionally, all of that over the last 4 years. And it has been a honor and a privilege for me to support you and walk alongside you during that. And so I'm just honored that you're here today. So thank you. Welcome. I would love if you would give everyone just a brief background about yourself, who you are, and then kind of what inspired you to take the plunge and jump into the top program.
Your programs and you as a person and the community have been so instrumental for me in the past nearly 4 years. And so a little bit about me, my name is Dawn Rogers, and I joined in 2021 when I was doing a direct sales. I was selling Pampered Chef and things were getting really crazy. And I heard about you and your program, and I started with the free top boot camp. And at the end of that 5 days, I was like, how do I do this? And then I joined the top program. And for me, I'll admit right off that wasn't something I was super excited about when I got into it, because in the strength finders, two of my top 5 strengths are learner and intellectivity. I am a consumer of information. I'm addicted to learning and not implementing necessarily. And so one module at a time.
Yes.
And the next module. But it really, oh my gosh, when I was doing it, it was so perfect for what I needed. But at that time, I was also in a really tough place. I lost my daughter, my 15-year-old daughter, in May 2016, very suddenly and tragically. And with that came a lot of heartache. But by 2021, I was starting to heal and get better. And I consider the top program and being a part of Megan's community and participating in the monthly calls part of my recovery and grief journey. And I wasn't even expecting to say that, but it really was, because I worked full time for the first few years, therapy, a recovery program with a loved one who was going through struggles with alcohol and addictions. And it was a full-time job for me in healing, in wellness, self-care. And coming out of that, I was starting to branch out and do this, jump into Pampered Chef. And I was experimenting, exploring different things, still in therapy, still in the recovery rooms. And I was always a person who did everything or nothing. And as I start healing and having more energy and starting to let myself think ahead besides getting through today, it taught me how to do that. I've just learned so much, and now I'm living a dream, and we can talk about that later. I'm living out a dream I've had since I was a little girl. I'm in the beginning stages of it, and I would not be here if it were not for you and the program and the community. So thank you, Megan.
The fact that you continued to show up and very openly and honestly, sometimes on the calls, be like, hey, I've kind of fallen off the planning wagon. Like, I need a reboot. You are the reason you are where you are today, because you're the one that has done the work for that. And so I always like to be very honest with folks when they're considering joining the program. This is not a snap a finger, Amazon Prime, 2-hour video and your life is going to be transformed. So, what would you say have been both some of the things that were easy, quick wins? Because there are some along the way, but then also, honestly, everybody's challenges. I know I have them anytime I invest in a new program. I'm learning something new. What have been some of the things that have been challenging for you as well?
Well, the first part was I considered it a job. So, I scheduled the time to do some of the work and just start implementing little things at a time. It was instrumental to me because you were offering the monthly coaching to come together.
Right.
That was a job. So it was part of going to work. So I would do that. And it helped to hear from others but you. And I never was afraid to pose a question because you were always so kind and understanding. I used to compare myself to others and still do sometimes, but I learned that I was right where I'm supposed to be. And, comparing ourselves does, steal our thunder and our joy. So that was really instrumental for me. And just getting back to a calendar, my planner, picking a planner and blocking the things out. One of the biggest struggles, and it still is for me, is blocking time for my projects, blocking time for my own appointment. And one thing I really loved was how you taught about routines. That was huge for me. And another big thing was about the roles, to not shift so much because I would just be doing all the different things. And over the years, I have learned to block out this is when I'm working, and it might be working out or my health part, right? Because I have you've also taught us about our priorities and values. So things may shift from what I originally planned, but is it in the wheelhouse of my values or priorities? I can shift it. So that was really big for me. And another big one for me was the time audit.
That's
You
always an
know,
eye
and
opener, isn't it?
yeah, I did not want to do that. Like, I
Nobody
can't do
does.
that because I don't want to see the truth. But the next thing was the energy audit. And that's something that has been huge for me in the past year, learning the rhythms and shifting with where my energy is highest or where I'm most creative. I'm an author getting ready to publish my first book for the women's. It's an anthology. And just, I would schedule time to write in the afternoon when really that was my nap time. So just learning to become aware by taking time to do those things. And then the reflections at the end of the week, you're celebrating your wins, the success tracker. And why was I successful? And I wanted to keep doing those things. Learning to not beat myself up where I was falling short and highlighting what was working and finding ways to tweak where I was falling short. So those are some of the really big things for me that, and I'll just share, can I show a prop?
Yeah, sure.
I love it.
Oh,
That's
good.
so great. And some of those have become, I just pick one every once in a while and I'll live by it for the week. You know, one of the things is I am worthy of all that is waiting for me. And when you lose your daughter, your 15-year-old daughter, and you were really close, you felt like you were walking in the ways that you're supposed to. And that happened so suddenly. And just to share, she died by her own hand. So it rocked my world. I didn't feel worthy of anything. And to dream or to plan was impossible. So the time that I came on deal, I was just I was saying yes to doing that stuff. And so you were, my training wheels to say yes to dreaming again and things like that. And such a safe environment. Always came away from any call or watching your YouTube videos or your newsletter that came out feeling empowered. I have everything I have within me. A therapist taught me that. Dawn, you have everything you need within you. And you helped bring the tools for me to realize that, but to actually walk in that. And so, yeah, I am worthy of all that is waiting.
Yes, hell yes.
And everybody listening here, right? You are worthy of everything waiting for you.
Yes, 100%. So let's look at all the things that you are now doing in your life, because I'm blown away every time you give an update of what you're doing now and then now adding this and adding this. It is a complete time transformation when I look back to when I met you 4 years ago to where you are today. So I would love for you to share all the amazing things that you are now spending your time on and prioritizing time for.
Okay. Well, first of all, I didn't want to make myself a priority. I had quit working in 2014 and I was living the like retired home. Olivia died in 2016. And so when I start feeling better, I felt like I should do ministry. I should do more with my mom. I should help my friends who are homeschooling. I was very busy doing all the other things. So then finally it shifts and I'm ready to live a dream. I always wanted to be a game show host or a talk show host when I was a little girl. I always wanted to be a talk show host. And I've said that out loud now for a few years. And last year I really started moving in it. I had dabbled in it, for many years. And right now, I'm a professional MC and speaker, keynote speaker. I speak at workshops and keynotes. And I'm really just launching into that. I just joined National Speakers Association and feel like I belong there, even though I'm a kindergartner when it comes to it. But
But
I'm
everybody
ready.
has to start there,
We
right?
do. And
Yeah.
just to say it out loud, and you've taught us that too, those affirmations like I am. This
Mhm.
is who I am. I just booked 2 gigs, had 2 signed contracts in like 20 hours. And so and I just picked up the phone, I saw something and hey, what do I need to do to get on your stage to help elevate awareness for your organization and help raise funds? They can say no. It happens. So I'm super excited and I'm getting ready to record my first series or season of a podcast. Can I share the name?
Awesome. Absolutely. Please do.
So, about 20 years ago, I felt like God was saying, honey, someday you're going to have your talk show and it will be Candid with Dawn because I'm so bold. I'm a professional question asker. You know that, right?
Yes.
And then, so the candidness, Candid with Dawn. And shortly after Olivia, we would call her Liv on occasion. The Lord gave me the mantra to live in victory. Like she died in May, by June, July, like struggling to get up and get moving. How am I going to, I'm not going to make it. Right. And he's like, yes, you are, sweetheart. I'm going to teach you to live in victory, capital LIV, every day, even though, right? And I just keep that in the back of my mind. So that's going to be my show, the Candid with Dawn show, living in victory every day. And so I'm super excited about that. And you, the program, the community, the work I've done with those tools have helped me to live in victory every day and to see it doesn't always mean being on stage in front of 350 people.
No, it does not.
Sometimes it's getting off the couch, getting your supplements in, drinking water, and playing with the dog, and some days it's doing the work we need to do.
Productive can look like resting and relaxing, right?
That's
It
right.
doesn't always have
And
to be in motion.
that's right. And that's a priority and a value for all of us, really. And
Yeah.
if I don't do that, I can't bring my best to the other things. So,
And you're also building out a whole website. You mentioned a
yes,
book. Like
my
this
website
is
has
a
built
lot
up.
of stuff
Oh,
that
yeah,
is all
my
coming
book.
to
Yeah,
fruition.
you're right.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm also just writing a book.
And then my grandma, first time grandma, she's about 5 months old at the time of this. She's about 2,000 miles away, but had credit card, airline miles, will travel. And, again, making that a priority, blocking that out. And with them, I think with family too, who always thought I was readily available for things, trying to reach out and make them a priority, but letting them know, like, hey, I want to get that on the calendar because I have these other things coming up. And then also when they invite me for something and saying, would they just, I don't want to say take it for granted, but when you are readily available, it's hard
It's
for
just
them
assumed. Yeah, well, of course
to
she's going to
assume.
be there. Yeah.
And now they value that because it's like, I would love to, but I'm recording a podcast this morning or whatever it is, right? Like I have an event that night that I'll be, hosting. So that won't work, but how about this day? So it's really elevated my own self-worth and how I value myself and my calendar. So if I could just nail the prioritizing, that's another one. And you just spoke to me recently about that. I'm like, oh yeah. And that's the beautiful part about the top program is that it's there. We can visit it anytime. And I have to admit, like for health, I'm kind of, health and wellness are very high on my priorities. I'm always taking in information and visiting those things to remind myself and stay positive in that. Same thing with you. I'm listening to your YouTubes. I'm looking at the newsletters. To admit some of what you're teaching, I could, come alongside me and be like, yep, 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 for sure,
Got
right?
that one already? Check,
That's
check.
right. But
Good.
I love how it's grown because it just shows me that more and more people are taking it seriously, and the structure is freedom. Structure is freedom. Structure is freedom, and structure is freedom. To like,
How you do
yep, I had it. Well, I have it planned every afternoon. I take a rest. Doesn't mean I'm sleeping. I am resting. I'm letting my brain let go of and declutter.
I love that. How you're bringing up again the rest every day, yet look at all you are accomplishing, right?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
don't have to be opposites of each other. That's why I always
Yeah.
say that rest is actually what I call restorative productivity. We can't show up and do all the wonderful things we're doing if we're not
That's right.
prioritizing that. You have always and continue to be just a light in the community. You support others so much. You're always so willing to jump in and give your thoughts and experiences with everybody. And so I just do want to take a couple minutes to thank you for that. It is because of women like you that we have such a treasured community inside the top program for sure. So from the bottom of my heart,
Yeah.
thank you for all that you have and continue to contribute. And it is truly an absolute honor to watch this evolution and this beautiful just rebirth, if you will, of you for over the last 4 years. And I am excited to see how this continues to evolve for you. Just
That's
thank
right.
you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's such an honor and privilege, and especially to come along the community. But I just appreciate you so much, and the whole program. And it's so fun because I graduate from top into your Planapalooza now next level planning. And so, that just showed the growth too for being able to think ahead past the week, past the month,
Yes. Right.
which is,
Start
you've been through
dreaming and planning the book and the new business and
That's
all of
right.
that.
DawnMRogers.com. Check me out. But
And we'll put the link below
okay.
because I mean, hey, someone listening might be like, I need an MC for an event.
That's
So
right.
yeah,
And I
come check it
travel
out.
for those. I did, I'm in Minneapolis. I've gone to Kentucky, and I'm just super excited to be a spokesperson for others as an MC and to share some of my journeys and in the speaking to help people to live in victory every day and teach them how. So thank you, Megan. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job, and you are
Same to you.
touching lives every day, making
Thank
a
you so
difference.
much.
All right. Have a beautiful day, life, week, month.
Absolutely.